everyone, Steve Kim here. So excited. Steve Kim Show episode number 129. For today's Steve Kim Show, I'm going to share with you my top 3 predictions. I'll say it again, my top 3 predictions as to what we should expect in 2021 in the Toronto and GTA real estate markets. But before I share with you my top 3 predictions, I do want to let you know, someone who is still very much actively trading in real estate, boots on the ground, I am a huge proponent of knowing my numbers, being that knowledge broker. And so I wouldn't have done 128 shows if I didn't know what I was talking about and if we weren't transacting at the levels that we are. So we were recently awarded the top 2% of realtors across Canada. So the information or the predictions I'm going to share with you, they're not unfounded, but they're very much rooted into what we have seen and what we've experienced in 2020 and the years and years of analyzing of the real estate markets that I have so much love for. So let's get right into the top 3 predictions. Starting with number 1, home prices are expected to go up anywhere between 6 to 8%. And this number is pretty conservative if you ask me. If you were to say, Steve, like, what do I really feel like is going to happen with regards to the appreciation levels? I truly believe that we're going to see about a double-digit increase in 2021. And many of you might say, Steve, where did you come up with such a crazy prediction? So actually, if you look all the way back to Trev back in the early 80s, yes, almost 4 decades ago, you'll notice that we've actually averaged a 7% growth year over year, again, over these past 4 decades. However, if you take a look at what happened in just the past year, from November 2019 to November 2020, I'm going to share what the average property in the GTA was trading for. So back in November 2019, that average property, and again, the average property encompasses all housing types, detached, semi-detached, townhomes, condominiums, etc. The average price of a property in the GTA was $843,307. Fast forward into 2020 of November, that average property was now trading at $955,615. So that's about a 13.3% increase of that average property year over year in the GTA. So when I predict that we're going to see about a double-digit increase, I have a pretty good feeling that that's what we're about to see in the freehold market. Now, with the vaccine being released, historically low interest rates, which are here to stay pretty much for the most part of 2021, and the high levels of immigration targeted by the federal government in 2021, and still the lack of inventory, and I'll say that again, and still the lack of inventory, homes for sale, this will only continue to fuel the multiple offer landscape, aka the bidding war, and thus drive prices up. Interesting to note that although there was a sharp increase in multiple offer situations in Q4 of 2020, we saw that most buyers who are throwing their hat in the ring were not blowing other offers right out of the water like we saw in the real estate market back in 2017. This should give buyers a lot of confidence in that other buyers who are interested in purchasing a home are doing so more in line with their budget and affordability at the forefront of their decisions. I think this has a lot to do with COVID and how a lot of people saw either their employment change quickly due to the shifting economy and or people became much more conscious of their spending habits. Thus, people have been forced to live within their means and thus not blowing their budgets to get into the housing market. Now, prediction number 2, the condo market will begin to slowly climb back up, but definitely not to the pre-pandemic levels of early 2020, and we should see about a 5% increase year over year for an average condo in Toronto. Now, the condo market was obviously impacted greatly due to COVID and the new Airbnb rules in 2020, and we all know how heavily this market is influenced by net immigration. So, how quickly it will rebound will largely be due to how readily the vaccine is for those looking to take it, how quickly and safely the economy begins to open up, and the rate in which people come back into Toronto, and lastly, what the landscape for in-person learning will look like for all of the incredible post-secondary institutions in Toronto. Now, these factors should absolutely be the ones you keep an eye out on, especially if you've been relegated to the sidelines of the Toronto real estate market because of the soaring condo prices the past 3 to 4 years. and are now looking to get in. I promise you there are still some amazing opportunities to enter into the ring and buy your first home, because the Toronto condo market right now is exactly where it was back in mid-2019. I'll say it again, where the condo market is right now is where it was back in mid-2019. So let me break it down for you by the numbers. The average price of a condo in Toronto of November 2020 was $640,208. Now, I want to put this into perspective to what the peak of the condo market was in Toronto. And the peak was back in February 2020, pre-pandemic. And the average price of a condo in Toronto at that point was $723,317. We are actually down 12.9% from February to November 2020. So what was the average price of a condo back in November 2019? It was $660,218. So when I say the average price of a condo is exactly where it was back in mid-2019, these are the numbers. And so what was the average price of a condo back in November 2018? Well, it was $594,845. And in November 2017, the average price of a condo, it was $556,498. So you can see the increase in the condo market year over year. So this is the first time where we've seen it actually fall back to mid-2019 levels. Now, how quickly this immigration happens will most certainly impact prices. And as more inventory gets sold, we will begin to see a tightening of supply, which you all know puts an upward pressure on the price. Now, if we see a massive influx of net immigration this year in 2021, we will absolutely see the condo market get much hotter. And I'm not saying that it's going to happen overnight, but if the net immigration comes in, the borders are open, and everyone starts to flood into the market, it could be quite a quick increase in pricing. Now, other things to note with the changes to the first-time homebuyer incentive, please check out SKS number 128 for more information on what that looks like. Many buyers are seeing the advantage of entering the home ownership market for the very first time. However, let me insert my thoughts on the first-time homebuyers incentive, or the change thereof. Now look, I'm a huge proponent of programs and incentives to help first-time homebuyers enter the market, especially in markets like Toronto, where home prices are higher here than in the surrounding communities. However, I'm still a little weary that the government has a stake in your home ownership in areas like Toronto, where we have seen an average increase in home prices 7% year over the course of the past 4 decades. And I'm also not sure about reducing the stress test makes any more sense, as I'm a huge proponent of having my clients live within their means. And if anything, I'll say it again, and if anything, the stress test has positioned many first-time homebuyers in a stronger position or a safer position this year due to COVID, especially if their employment or earning potential has changed. And I predict, again, like I said before, if everything kind of stays its course, we see a gradual influx of net immigration into Toronto, we should see about a 5% overall gain from early 2021 to the end of 2021, and a much more balanced market in terms of supply versus demand. Drum roll, please. Prediction number 3 is that the Bank of Canada's overnight rate will remain at 0.25% for 2021. And as such, the variable rates for mortgages will largely stay put or untouched for 2021. However, there is a good chance that the fixed rates for mortgages will slightly begin to increase by the end of 2021. Now, we've seen various fixed rates hover in and around the range of 1.5%, and we've seen variable rates come under 1% for the first time ever, and that was from HSBC back in December 2020 when they made that announcement. Now, that rate was only given to those who required an insured mortgage who had less than 20% down. Now, fixed rates going up, you're going to say, well, Steve, how did I come up with that prediction? And that prediction is really based upon confidence levels going up. So if the confidence levels go up, the economy begins to open up, Torontonians become vaccinated, this type of confidence will only strengthen the economy and have more people come into Toronto. And so with this, what are we going to see with the strengthening of the economy? A gentle nudge upwards of the bond yields. And you're going to say, well, what's so important about the bond yields? And although there are many factors that impact mortgage rates, the single greatest factor that impacts mortgage rates in Canada is the Government of Canada bond yields. So I'll say it again, the largest single factor that impacts mortgage rates in Canada is the Government of Canada's bond yields. And so we know that with mortgage rates and as mortgage carry more risks, they'll also ultimately be priced higher to compensate for this risk. So if we see the bond yields go up, we most certainly will see the mortgage rates go up as well. Now stay tuned. I have a bonus for you. My bonus prediction for 2021 for the Toronto GTA real estate market. And my bonus prediction is this. I strongly believe that the rental market will come back in full force in Toronto by 2022. Now, we're going to see some moderate appreciation in rental rates, and I'm going to say we're going to start to see that around the summer of 2021. Now, if the economy is booming, net immigration is flowing, we're going to see rental rates skyrocket if that happens. And I'm going to share with you, the average cost of a one-bedroom rental in Toronto back in December 2020 was $1,877, which is about a 19% decrease year over year. So I think that this year would be an opportune time for those looking to either rent a larger space or a space that might be a little bit more fancier for the more discerning crowd. Maybe penthouse living. And again, this is all due to the softening in rental rates that happened during 2020 and will most likely continue to happen in the first quarter of 2021. Anyways, I hope you found these bold predictions interesting. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to send me a text, shoot me a DM, an email, or even comment in the post below with a question that you may have. I'd love to answer them. Anyways, I hope everyone has had a great start to 2021. I know 2020, we shut the door on that. We're so relieved, so happy, but we made it. We made it. And so I look forward to more videos, more interactions, answering more of your questions into 2021. You all know the drill, and you all live this drill. Be great, be kind, everyone. Take care.